Hey all, welcome back. It's been a hot minute, but I've been pretty busy with lots of storm chasing, as you probably see. But today we're going back to space reactions. I know I missed the Branson flight. In fact, I'm doing double dipping here, and I'm going to react to both of those launches in one video. But we're going to start with current news, which is the Blue Origin launch that occurred this morning. I have not watched it yet, although I do know that it was successful. So let's get into it here. Hit and play.
What a trip to space and back. Again, this vehicle, we've had 15 successful flights on. Again, we're looking forward to this 16th one, of course, a very special one with people on board today.
Mm-hmm. Blue's finally putting people on it.
T-minus 2 minutes. There we go.
It's just retracting.
There it goes.
The bridge is retracting. There's Oliver on the left. Jeff Bezos on the right. We are about to go to space, everybody.
It's about dang time, Blue, but here we go.
We are in auto sequence.
So yeah, for those who don't know, today's launch is a suborbital flight. So what that means is they are not going to Earth orbit. They're not attempting to stay in outer space. They are just touching the edge of space and then coming right back down. And they're using the traditional method. Blue Origin is.
Ariane, when that engine gimbal check occurs and that engine swings, they should actually be able to feel it in the cabin because it'll sway the stack back and forth.
Yeah, they're just
there go the aft fin
checking
checks.
checking everything out here. But this suborbital launch.
There you see the engine gimbal check just peeking out at the base of the rocket.
Okay, there's a lot going on. I'm going to focus on that. So yeah, they're checking out the engines to make sure that they can gimbal, which is basically the engines are used to control the attitude of the rocket.
Here we go, everybody. Thousands of people contributed years to this historic moment. Ladies
So that stuff falling is just
it's
ice.
Time for Blue Origin's first human flight. Godspeed, first crew of New Shepard. Let's light this candle.
Little throwback quotes there. Yeah, that engine gimbling is what controls the orientation of the craft, and those fins also control the orientation as well in the atmosphere.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7,
Come on, baby.
6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1. Ignition.
Come on, baby. Let's go.
We have lift.
There it goes.
Shepard cleared the tower.
Oh, what a shot.
And New Shepard has cleared the tower.
It is off like a rocket, literally.
Go, Jeff. Go, Mark. Go, Wally. Go, Oliver.
Yeah,
go
Wally.
space.
Oh, I'm so happy for that. Like, it's so cool that she gets her chance, Wally Funk, to finally go to space after so many years. For those who don't know the story, please look it up. But she's the youngest member of the so-called Mercury 13, a group of 13 women who were put through the astronaut physicals way back in the 60s.
The BE-3 engine, we are just about to pass through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. That was when the stresses on the vehicle are at their maximum.
But
Max Q.
they were not allowed
Max Q
to
is confirmed.
fly as an astronaut. The reasons
Beautiful
for that
burn
are
on that BE-3
varied,
engine.
From political to
Liquid hydrogen
otherwise.
and liquid oxygen as the propellant. It's a nice,
Man, that thing is
not just
flying.
clean in terms of beautifully performing, but what comes out of it, it's steam, right?
Yep, it's pure steam.
Whew.
That's the cool thing. It's hydrogen and oxygen.
To see the glow of the engine underneath the rocket, just under our shoulders, and to know that we've
It's
got
about
a
all
crew
we
that
can
is going
see.
to space.
Unfortunately, they don't give us the look.
It just feels different,
in the
doesn't
capsule.
it, Gary?
It is totally different.
I wish they gave us a look at the people
All
in
right,
the capsule.
you can follow
but
along, of course, the speedometer in the bottom left, the altimeter in the middle of the screen there.
So that bouncing around you see, that's not the craft moving,
So
that's the
far
camera.
appears
I'm
to
sure
be
most
a
of you know
nominal
that,
flight.
but it's very hard to track an object like that because it's very small relative to the rest of the sky and it's moving very, very rapidly away.
All right, coming up here on Miko, main engine cutoff. That will be followed
So
shortly
quick.
by separation. And at that point, after separation, we're gonna let the astronauts unbuckle and take in the freedoms of zero G.
Here we go.
There is Miko, main engine cutoff. A beautiful shot down the
Interesting,
New
they're
Shepard
rotating
rocket.
just a little
Look
bit.
at that view.
I suppose maybe that's intentional to give them a better view of
Unreal.
the various panoramas.
Awaiting separation here.
Interesting that they don't separate for so long. That's very strange. Yep.
And here
They're
we are.
experiencing
You can
weightlessness.
start to see.
Maybe they leave the booster
Stand
on to
by.
help
You're
it
gonna see
decelerate
the
more so it's
separation of
not, the
capsule
G's
from
aren't
the
quite
booster
as high.
itself.
That might be it. Also to keep them closer together, maybe. Yeah, there's that 100 miles. Pretty much.
Oh, wow. Also, you have to look out the window. Holy kid God. Oh, wow.
Okay, so we got audio. That's pretty neat. Go, Wally, go. Pretty dang cool.
And there we go. Our astronauts have passed the Kármán line at about 328,000 feet, continuing their ascent. You see the two vehicles there.
They're so close together.
When the speed hits zero, you know that they've hit apogee, their maximum altitude, and you hear they're having quite an
Yep,
experience.
they're coming down now. Man, it's such a quick flight, but it's just a little hop. So yeah, they don't go to orbit here. They're just going suborbital. So to get to orbit, you really need just a lot of velocity. So they got to space, but to be able to actually stay in space, you need to build up velocity. So you can think of it kind of like, I think Newton came up with this originally with kind of the idea of a cannon, shooting a cannonball. And it's like, the more velocity you have in the horizontal direction, the farther a cannonball travels before it falls back to Earth. And eventually it has so much velocity that it falls over the horizon. And it just continuously falls over the horizon. Like, the Earth is still pulling the cannonball down, so to speak, but it has enough velocity that it's overshooting the Earth every time. And the only thing that would slow that down would be a little bit of friction with the atmosphere, which the atmosphere, we say they're in space, but there's tenuous atmosphere extending, you know, more than 100 miles up, or 100 kilometers, I should say. And the definition of space is another thing that I could get into at some point. It's not necessarily an arbitrary line. There's actually some physics behind it, but yeah, you can see them coming back down now, picking up quite a lot of speed.
Everybody in?
First step, status check. Astronaut Oliver.
Oh, wow. Oliver, status check. Oh, sorry.
Blue Control, Oliver, status perfect. In seat.
Copy, astronaut Wally.
Wally.
Blue Control, Wally is in seat.
Copy, astronaut Demo.
Astronaut demo, right by street.
Copy, astronaut Bezos.
Yeah, they're falling fast. They're decelerating though now.
Copy.
Yeah, it's commercial, so they're not trained astronauts per se. so they don't have to follow the strict
Thank you again, everybody,
procedure.
for joining us live for our first human flight on New Shepard. So far, a nominal flight. Our booster is about to return.
So that boom you
to
heard
its
is the
landing
sonic
pad.
boom
There we see engine
of it
relight.
decelerating.
The sonic boom.
So yeah, here comes the booster. Come on, baby, set her down. Oh man, that's so cool. It's different from the way SpaceX does it, as you can tell. It's much slower.
And booster
Because they actually have
touchdown.
enough
Welcome back,
throttle ability.
New Shepard.
So that smoke, that flame there is
beautiful rocket that provided a beautiful
is also
flight
normal.
to space.
Hydrogen is very leaky, so it's just kind of burning excess
Your booster
hydrogen.
has landed.
It's not a bad thing. It's just not a lot you can do about it. Okay, here comes the important part. Man, they haven't even popped their parachutes yet.
And there it is, our crew capsule.
Yeah, they're
with
basically
our
at terminal
four
velocity
crew
here.
members on board.
For all intents and purposes.
Very happy crew up here, I want you to know.
Yeah, I'd be happy too if I could fly on that thing. Maybe someday, God willing. Or just go to orbit. That's kind of my dream.
I see the big barn.
Stand by drogues. Stand by
Man, they
drogues.
popped the chutes low. It's only a mile up.
Stand by main.
Less than a mile up.
Stand by main.
They don't wait till a half mile, do they? Oh my gosh.
Oh, so
Darn
far,
close to a half
nominal
mile.
flight. Here comes the crew capsule back from space. The drogues deployed. Here are the
Praise
mains
God,
out.
the chutes deployed
Briefing
fine.
and coming to full inflation. Our rocket went over Mach 3, and now they're coming floating back down at just about 15 or 16 miles an hour. About to join
Still a
us
little
home.
bumpy, but
Back here in West Texas, after having gone over the Kármán line, the internationally recognized line of space, the world's newest astronauts.
come on, baby.
Gary, how you holding up, friend?
I am speechless.
Wow.
It's a big step. It's a really
Those
big step.
beautiful windows.
Just got about a minute and a half of floating before the activation of the skirt jet for a soft touchdown.
Oh, okay, so they do what the
At
Russians
this
do with a
point,
little retro
there are
rocket.
sensors on board that are detecting how high they are above the ground. Multiple sensors. Just 6 feet above the ground, that cushion of air will puff, and they will have a soft touchdown, almost like just sitting in a chair.
It's such a big capsule.
But I'm sure their adrenaline is pumping.
It's been pumping for a while, I'm sure. Okay, here we go. Nice and gentle now. There's the drone again. Alright. Let's see if we can hear him.
And touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard's
Way to go,
first
Blue.
human crew.
Good work.
What?
You did it. You did it,
What
Blue.
a
Welcome
flight.
back to Earth, first step.
At long last.
Congratulations to all of you.
Nice. There's a shot.
Ah, what a day, what a day.
On this capsule.
Wow.
We're so grateful to everybody who made this possible. Thank you. Blue Control, Oliver, thank you so much for everyone there. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Copy first step. You have a very heavy Capcom here as well. Let's do a status check. Astronaut Oliver.
Blue Control, astronaut Oliver, status correct.
Copy. Astronaut. Copy. Astronaut demo.
Astronaut demo, I am unbelievably good.
Copy.
Communication, sorry.
Blue Control, Bezos, best day ever.
He has worked a long time to get there.
Copy, everyone. Go ahead and remain in your seats. Crew member 7 is on their way. Shortly, you will hear the capsule.
Well, great
off-ramp.
job, Blue. Let me see if maybe there's something from the press conference. Otherwise, that is an incredible job. Worked very hard. Pausing it now. You guys worked very hard to get to this point. Lots and lots and lots of tests. I know progress can be frustratingly slow sometimes, but at the end of the day, they got them up there and they got them back safely, and they've proven that they can repeat this through many tests. So
First up, Blue Control, your apogee
there should be no reason why people shouldn't be flocking to sign up for this if you have the money, because it's a good deal they got here at Blue. So good jobs to everyone on the team, and congrats to the new commercial astronauts. Hopefully the first of many people. Mark. All right.
Incredibly exciting for the crew.
I did not watch this one when it happened, so sorry about that, but I was busy with storm chasing, but
And once we get to the 30
watching it now.
Spaceship Unity is going to arm the launch pylon. And then once we get to that designated point, the mothership pilots are actually the ones that engage the release, setting Unity free. So we have actions for both the mothership pilots and the spaceship pilots, so they're in coordination and all agree on the launch.
So yeah, this is obviously a very different system from what we just saw. I actually really like this system. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Because why not take advantage of, because lift is much more efficient than just pure
The
thrust
spaceship pilots are
for
also going to push
altitude.
the stick all the way forward to prepare for release.
Such a beautiful plane.
And things happen pretty quickly after the release. So the pilots are going to light the rocket motor and they're going to accelerate in level flight until they reach Mach 1, at which point they'll start what we call the gamma turn, where we turn directly up and head to space. 1 minute to release now. It's getting real.
Wonder if that's for aerodynamic reasons, for stability. Probably. And or just to get away from the plane.
45 seconds.
Man, this is another thing that's been a long time coming. Should have probably happened a long time ago, but you know, things happen, accidents, design issues.
30 seconds. The Spaceship Unity pilots are arming the launch pylon now.
All right. So both pilots have to validate it, basically. Oh man, leaving him hanging. What a bummer, dude.
10 seconds.
All right, here we go. Let's see this baby.
5, 3, 2, 1. Release,
Oh boy.
release. Clean release. Ignition.
Oh man.
Good
Oh, a
rocket
little
motor
chugging at the beginning there, but we got her lit.
There's Mach 1.
Oh
Turning
my
now.
gosh, that's fast. Oh, that's such a cool view. It's interesting that it's so
Trim complete. Unity is pointed
underexpanded.
directly up and heading to space. Things are looking great. We are
Oh, there's a
25
nice
seconds
Mach
into the
diamond.
burn now, approaching Mach 2. 30 seconds, Mach 2. Everything's looking really good and stable.
So yeah, this rocket's a hybrid motor, which is also the first of its kind. So a hybrid motor it's by
45
definition,
seconds.
it's a hybrid between a solid propellant motor and a liquid propellant engine.
50
So
seconds, approaching
you
Mach
use
3.
a solid fuel grain,
There's Mach 3.
and then you inject an oxidizer
And
through the
60
middle of it.
seconds, and that is a full duration burn, folks. We are headed to space. And the passengers in the back have been cleared to unstrap. Our predicted
man.
apogee is 279,000 feet and climbing. The
So yeah,
pilots are now unlocking
they're
the
blowing
fender,
down,
and,
presumably with nitrogen there or
as soon as they
something
do
like that.
It's going to initiate a backflip for Spaceship Unity. This is normal. We want those windows pointed down towards the Earth to maximize that incredible view.
Interesting. There's so much piloting involved in this. It's actually pretty cool. Like,
the RCS or reaction control system,
those pilot
which is what
astronauts
they'll
are
use to
actually.
control the attitude of the vehicle while we're outside the atmosphere.
So yeah, when you're outside of the atmosphere, you have to use little rocket thrusters. You can't use
All right, fender is
fins.
all the way 60,000 feet now and climbing. As soon as we cross the boundary to space, we'll hear a word from our founder, Sir Richard Branson.
That will be cool. I like that they're a lot more
22.
personal than Blue Origin was for the flight itself, but I suppose there are paying people and they don't maybe want to be put on the internet live streamed, you know, or if something goes wrong.
So it doesn't sound like we're receiving the audio over the broadcast, but I know Richard is saying something inspirational as he always does. Fortunately, we have a lot of cameras recording things on board today, and we'll be sure to
watch
capture
that
those
after.
magical words and share them with the world when they're available. We reached apogee 282,000 feet. Remember the day, remember where you are, and remember who you shared this with, and remember the name Virgin Galactic, because today space is virgin territory.
Yeah, this is the first ever commercial space launch for tourism.
By humans leaving planet Earth, Sir Richard Branson fulfills his long-held dream of experiencing space with his crew. Congratulations again, Richard, and congratulations also to Sarisha and Colin on becoming astronauts today. And welcome back to space to Dave, Mike, and Beth.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you can see them now?
Just a little bit. I love how they put New Mexico on the screen too. That's pretty neat. A nice shout
So
out.
we are on the re-entry portion of our flight now, and the mission specialists are heading back to their seats. Our training team has worked really hard on this portion of the flight to make it very natural and intuitive for passengers. Now,
Yeah,
when we talk
it's
about space travel, a lot of people know and
disorienting.
expect the boost portion of the flight to be loud and thrilling, but what's interesting is re-entry is also very similar, as supersonic air is flowing over the vehicle in the feathered configuration.
Yeah.
Shockwaves form on top of the cabin, which are audible to those inside. And for those of you on site watching on the ground, you should be able to hear a double sonic boom as Spaceship Unity once again breaks the sound barrier.
I like this live stream. They're doing a really good job with it. And they have so many cool camera angles too. Yeah, I love the marketing logos that they have for Virgin Galactic. It's pretty cool. Alright, now come on back down.
Alright folks, we are now subsonic. Just under 75,000 feet in altitude.
Still pretty high. But yeah, so this thing obviously it doesn't descend back on a parachute. It's an actual I wouldn't call it an airplane, a glider, I guess. At this point it's a glider. But those wings change shape depending on the configuration. They've got like a launch configuration where they're trying to minimize drag, and then they have the fins up where they're trying to kind of maximize drag to bring them back down.
This is our first time transmitting HD camera data down to the ground and then out to a global live stream. So please do bear with us as we may occasionally see some drops in the feed, but we still have some really great ground footage coming in here. Oh,
yeah, it is pretty dang good footage.
And the pilots are lowering the feather now.
Okay, so they're going back into oh, you can see
the feather comes down, the nose of Spaceship is going to drop. This is normal and expected. Once that feather's down and locked, the pilots will begin a gentle
you can
pull-up
see
to
it
a
moving.
level attitude, and I'm hearing the feather is down and locked now. So at this point, Spaceship Unity is a glider, so it's all about balancing her potential and kinetic energy. So if the pilots want to go faster, they point the nose down, and if they want to go slower, they bring the nose up.
Nicely explained.
And right now I'm hearing the crews listening to a special soundtrack for the glide. It's the latest release from Khalid, a track called New Normal. And all of us will get to hear that on Earth during our celebration, so stick around for that.
Commercial space, baby. You can listen to soundtracks. I wouldn't say you can have popcorn, but
overwhelmed and excited about what we just witnessed. And there's one person in particular who's got to be having all of the feels right now. You can see him sending a congratulatory shake to his passenger, Colin Bennett, there with him. Let's see if we can connect with the crew again here.
Asia, manual down to 200.
So I'm guessing that the G-forces on this kind of a flight would be much less than on Blue Origin's, because they're a glider, so they not only have to keep the G's lower for the
So,
airframe.
Richard, you just went to space. This has got to be the
Okay.
ultimate birthday present for you.
What is his birthday? Wow.
What was it like?
No wonder they moved it up. Working all the kinks out. So yeah, they probably have a lower G's because they can also glide in, so they have a much better control, and they can bleed their velocity out over a much longer period of time
All right, folks, again, sorry, we're
than
not
when
getting
you
that
have a
transmission
parachute
through
in a
the live
capsule where you
broadcast,
just kind of
but
have to,
again, we do have lots
you
of
know,
recording devices aboard the spaceship.
you're going a lot
and
faster.
We'll be sure to release some footage of Richard and the crew up there today.
It's a cool view of those clouds. You can see they're still really high. They're finally getting below the level of anvil tops on severe thunderstorms, so just to give you an idea of how high they still are. They're below that now, but not by too much.
I've done some ridiculous things in my lifetime. That was really, really ridiculous. I just can't wait for one day to be able to experience it. It's a complete experience of a lifetime. And now I'm looking down at a beautiful spaceport. Congratulations to everybody for creating such a beautiful, beautiful place. Congratulations to all our wonderful team at Galactic for 17 years of hard work to get us this far.
All right, so I'm so happy we could catch a little part of that. It seems like there's a little bit of a delay in the transmission there. It does have a long way to travel. But you could tell by the smiles on their faces, they just had the ride of their lives. We are so excited for them to land and party the rest of the day with like astronauts in the typical Virgin fashion.
Yeah, I love their flight suits too. I think they're pretty cool. You can see there's a lot of crud on the nozzle there. Either that or it's streaks or both.
Unity is a glider at this point. So the pilots right now are discussing their energy management plan, and pretty shortly here they'll be meeting up with our chase aircraft with Jamil and Patrick to get some really cool visuals of Spaceship Unity.
So yeah, you'll notice it's a much longer descent than the other capsule, because again, as I said, they're bleeding their velocity off over a much longer time by kind of gliding around, so it's a much easier on you.
The area around Spaceport includes more than 6,000 square miles of restricted airspace and high desert, which is one of the reasons it was built here. And of course, our future astronauts will be able to take in so much of that natural beauty. And, you know, of course, we also have White Sands nearby. White Sands National Park is just to our east. It's visible right over the Black Range Mountains. White Sands,
Get those selfies.
has been the backdrop for so many films,
She's calling
commercials,
someone.
music videos, and it's known for having the largest gypsum dune field on the planet.
It's such a roomy craft compared to Blue's. So the windows may be smaller, but it's far roomier, so you actually have more space, it looks like, to kind of move around and do some gymnastics,
So also nearby
which is pretty neat.
the Oregon Mountain Desert Peaks National Monument, and that's nearly 500,000 acres of protected land that our guest families will be able to experience.
Man, this is a
And even
long
though temperatures
descent.
hit the triple digits in the summer here, we also have cool desert days. And fortunately, our pilots and crew can stay comfortable thanks to their spacesuits. They were designed with our technical spaceware partner, Under Armour, and they're absolutely beautiful, as you can see on the crew there.
They
They're
are pretty
lightweight
cool
and made of
spacesuits.
flight grid knitted fabrics, which spacesuit and also helps regulate their body temperature.
So yeah, they only have a certain amount of potential energy that they can spend because they're a glider. So they only get one shot at landing, just like a shuttle. And at each second that they come down, they lose more of that energy. So it's all about, you know, conserving it till when it's needed.
So also to commemorate this flight from New Mexico, we reached out to the Zia Pueblo, who gave us permission to use their sun symbol on our spaceship.
That's cool. That's
This
so
symbol
cool.
is also a part of the New Mexico state flag, and it's embedded with symbolic meaning. The number 4 is sacred to the Zia people, and the emblem represents the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 times of day, and the 4 phases of life. We are honored and proud to feature this perfectly balanced symbol on Spaceship Unity's tail cone, as we also celebrate our new home.
That is pretty cool. I'm glad that they are reaching out. There's so much symbolism. The chase plane's like a Cessna.
There, outside of Richard's window. The pilots are coordinating with Chase now and discussing their energy management plan. They're at about 9,500 feet in altitude, and the runway out here at Spaceport America is around 4,600 feet in altitude.
So they're going from sea level. That's interesting. But I suppose that makes sense for the boundary of spaces.
All right, we have 3 landing gear down and
Nice.
locked. Now the pilots are going to be landing on runway 34 today, so that's coming from the south and towards the north for those of you on site watching. And for the non-pilots tuning in, those numbers represent the first 2 numbers of the magnetic heading of the runway. So for example, 34 is 340 degrees on your compass.
Interesting.
We are just about 1,000 feet above the field now and on final.
Oh, there's a shot. That's cool.
500 feet above the runway.
Such a cool
300
craft.
feet.
Come on, baby. Set her down.
Over the threshold.
Flaring up. Nice.
Main gear touchdown.
Nice.
And we're going to hold it just like this for a minute before bringing the nose down. Can see they're already celebrating inside there.
There
And
we
the
go.
nose is coming down now.
Is that a skid?
Nose gear touchdown.
Looks like a skid. That's interesting.
And braking.
Well done. Well done, Virgin. Well done. Nicely done. Wow, that's 2 for 2, America. Great work. Oh, man.
Look at that incredible drone footage here as we come in.
That is pretty cool.
And there is full stop.
Woohoo!
A perfect landing.
Way to go, Virgin.
Broken through the commercial space tourism barrier, and there is no turning back. We have just witnessed the second human space flight from the state of New Mexico, and our first space flight with 4 mission specialists on board from our operational home base, Spaceport America. A beautiful day of flight. What a moment. Congratulations to everybody on board, and of course our very own Spaceship Unity, who returned to space today. And of course we also saw beautiful flying from our Eve crew, CJ and Kelly, and brilliant work by our chase pilots, Jamil and Patrick, all of whom are still in the air right now. Great job to you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. More than half a century since the world rejoiced when humans first achieved spaceflight, Richard Branson fulfills
Celebrity
his dream of
appearances.
experiencing space travel. Congratulations to Richard and Virgin Galactic. Congratulations also to Colin Bennett and Sarisha Bandla on becoming astronauts. And also a welcome back to space for David Mackay, Mike Masucci, and Beth Moses.
Woohoo! Man, we saw history twice today. For a lot of you, probably you saw history a couple weeks ago, but I saw it twice today. this has been commercial space tourism has been kind of the holy grail, if you will, of kind of a mark of progress. When we're able to, everyday people, which, you know, we're not quite there yet, but, you know, non-astronauts, let's say, people who aren't, you know, essentially supermen, normal people are able to now experience space for the first time. And the more that this industry expands, and it will, the cost will come down. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, in maybe as little as 5 years, 10 years, for sure, you know, suborbit's going to be, you know, just one of many things. Orbital flights, times in space hotels, flights around the moon, you know, you name it, in 15 to 20 years. You know, I feel strongly, if you have, say, middle class income, you know, it'll be like taking a trip to a foreign country. You know, to be able to go to space, very, very achievable, and I think it's going to have a huge impact on our world. It's going to have a huge impact on everyday life. People who go to space and able to see the Earth for what it truly is, without any borders, with all the beauty that it is, this beautiful blue, green, white, multicolored globe in the midst of a jet black space, our sanctuary, our birthplace, our crib, if you will. But really, humanity always explores. We always push the boundaries of where we go. That's who we are. At the core, we are searching for. We are searching. We're not content with what is, but we are always searching. So this is the start. This is the start. And I know at this point it's sort of an elite rich person thing, but believe me, that's not always how it's going to be. And it's amazing that even they can do it now, for the prices that they do it. So congrats to both Blue Origin today and Virgin Galactic belated. Very hard work, very good jobs with both. Sky's the limit, except that it isn't anymore. The sky's officially not the limit, so we can toss that phrase out the door. But great work today, and excited to see progress in the future. So to all of you who've watched me for so long, thanks for sticking with me. I know it's probably a pretty long video, but I'm just as excited as you are for what this is. So hopefully many more reactions like this to come, but until the next time, keep pursuing your dreams, smelling the roses, and keep those eyes to the sky.